have children and to fill the earth. So that's what they did. They had two sons to begin with, Cain and Abel. While Cain went his own way and didn't follow God, Abel recognised his need for a substitute, an innocent one dying in his place and shedding blood so that he could be forgiven. He followed God's way. Well, then other sons and daughters came along and the earth became full. The world and all its people just got worse and worse the further they moved away from God. Then, after nearly 1,000 years, we meet a man named Noah. This is all in Genesis 6 in the Bible. Remember to check out some of the other videos in the description. Well, the people of the earth were described as wicked. They were doing awful things to one another, which caused so much pain and so much hurt. But Noah, he followed God. And one day God spoke to Noah. He said to Noah, the awful state of the earth cannot carry on. The consequences of all the sin must be dealt with. I'm going to bring a judgment on the earth. It's going to be a flood that's going to cover the whole earth, cleansing it, making it ready for a new start. Well, God gave Noah a huge task. He was going to build a great big boat, big enough to carry all kinds of animals and people, and to keep them safe from the flood. The Bible gives the exact dimensions of the ark. It says it was about 2 football pitches long and 6 cards wide. A massive, great big boat. And it took Noah 120 years to build the ark. And all that time, the Bible says, Noah was explaining to the people of the world that a judgment is coming. God was going to bring a flood on the earth, covering everything, destroying all the things. But that the people, if they wanted to be safe, could come aboard the ark because it was going to be a place of safety. Well, after 120 years, the ark was ready. And can you imagine what people must have thought as they saw Noah building this boat in the desert? He's building a massive big boat. Would they have laughed? Would they have mocked him? But Noah didn't listen. He just listened to what God had said. He believed that God one day would send a judgment. Well, the ark was designed to keep everything inside of it safe from the judgment to come. It was covered in tar, which is a bit like the stuff you make roads with. And that made it waterproof, a place of safety. And there was going to be one door only. And anybody who believed Noah and believed what God was saying would have to enter the ark through that one door. Well, the time came. Everything was ready. They had everything they needed on the ark. And God said to Noah that in 7 days a flood was going to come, so they were to make their way onto the ark. That's what happened. All the animals, all the livestock and the people entered onto the ark. And they would wait for 7 days. You see, God was making sure that everything that was on the ark, everything that was needed to have a new start was on the ark. Well, Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and their wives, they were on the ark. And for 7 weeks, they waited. People outside the ark were probably looking, thinking, how long are they going to be on there? I bet they're going to come off. They were maybe laughing, making jokes. You know, it must have been so hard for Noah and his family. They probably called to the people and said, there's still time. Come onto the ark. Join us in the place of safety. Be safe from God's judgment to come. You know, whenever God brings judgment, he always provides a way of escape. And the ark was the way of escape. Plenty of room for plenty more people. But you see, none came. Everybody rejected God's gracious offer. And well, after 7 days, God slammed the door shut. I bet everyone would have suddenly sat up. And then the first drop of rain fell. And then the massive earthquakes started. Suddenly, great fountains of water burst up from below the earth. And rain thundered down from the sky. It was here. God's judgment had come. Now, I wonder if some of the people ran up the ramp to the ark, started banging on the door, saying, let me in. But it was too late. They should have accepted God's offer while they still had the chance. And you know, it just kept raining and raining. The waters kept rising and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Everyone outside of the ark fell under God's judgment and there was no survivors. But true to his promise, everyone and everything inside of the ark was safe from the flood and safe from judgment. Well, the water stayed on the earth for many, many months and creation was being totally changed. And then after 5 months, the ark came to rest on a mountain called Ararat. God has kept his promise to Noah and the family and the animals. You know, God always keeps his promises. Well, eventually Noah and his family, they were able to leave the ark and begin creation again. When they left the ark, they found that the world was now a very different place with a very different climate to the one they'd left when they walked onto the ark. And to thank God for his care and of them, and they showed that they believed that they needed an innocent substitute to die in their place so that they would be made right with God. So they made a sacrifice because they believed God. Now, this is something that seems really strange and perhaps a bit horrible to us. But the truth is that the death of an innocent animal shows us the seriousness of the consequences of sin. Sin always brings death, as we've already looked at. Well, Noah and his family, they were trusting in God's promises, and they believed what God said. Now they could start again, make a new start, a fresh beginning on the world. Well, will you join us again as we put in place another piece of the puzzle so that we can build up our view of the world according to what the Bible has to say?